when you look at percent, ladies and gentlemen, you should try to break apart that word. What do you suppose percent means? Use your superb 6th grade intellect. I can tell you it's probably split up into 2 words, per and cent. For example, if I had 2 pencils per student, what does that mean? And where do you hear the word cent before? If you take those 2 things, per and cent, Jacob Lutzendorf says,
wait, are you asking what per and cent mean?
sure,
Okay.
I am.
Per means 1.
No, per. Per does not mean 1.
Oh.
Maybe you could say each. Each would be kind of closer, but in this case, not quite so much.
And cents, money?
Well, yeah, but think of the other places you hear cents. Century, centurion, cents and money, centigrade. No, cents, that's a different one. Cents. That's S-E-N, S-E, not cents, S-E-N. Centimeter.
Oh. Century?
Huh?
Century.
Century. What does cent mean?
Oh, number?
Yeah, but what is it, BJ?
Small.
No.
1.
No, not 1. For example, a century is, Alex?
100.
Yeah, 100. Cent means 100. Per really means out of. Now, let me give you the gist of this, and this is the way to remember that, children. Let's say I have 80%. This is the percent symbol there. Okay. The best way or a good way to remember that is if you took 80%, now I'm going to rewrite it here, 80%. That's how we write the percent thing. If you took 80% and did this with the little numbers over here, straighten this bad boy out, and put a line underneath of it, 80% means the same thing as 80 out of 100 or 80 hundredths. Okay, and that's the whole thing. You guys deal with percents a lot because your grade is generally a percent. You know, if you get a 90%, now that means if you had 100 questions, you would have gotten 90 of them right. But on our tests or quizzes, if you get a 90%, there's only been 10 questions, but you only get 9 of them right because that's an equal fraction. Okay, if you can make an equal fraction that has 100 on the bottom, you can find out what percent you got. For example, let's say DJ made 4 out of 5 free throws. Well, you can't say, you don't know its percent because it's not out of 100 yet, but you could make it out of 100 if you could make an equal fraction. Can you make an equal fraction that has 100 on the bottom with that?
Yes.
What do you multiply 5 by to get 100?
20.
20, so if you multiply 4 by, you get
80.
So that is your percent. You get 80%, because that's what that means. But that's neither here nor there, because today's lesson is about, and you'll like this here, because it's pretty simple. Today's lesson is going to happen as soon as I get this thing to draw a rectangle. How do you change a percent, it's not writing very well, to a fraction? Wow, this is terrible. Percent. What do you suppose you have to do? If I have 60%, there's really only 2 steps to changing that to a fraction. I already talked about it, so it should be easy. But let's write it down. Alex, you have to, number 1.
Make 60 100.
Yes. Put, wow, this thing is going crazy. Put it over 100, which means 60% is 60 over 100. I have to start this thing over. It's goofy. And then step number 2, guess what you have to do, Peter?
Reduce.
Yep.
80.
We call that simplifying, but we'll call it reduce. And what number goes into 60 and 100 if you were to reduce it? Whoops.
20.
All right, good, we'll do 20. Divide 60 by 20, you end up with 3, and 100 divided by 20 is 5. So 3/5 is the same thing as 60%. If I gave you a quiz that had 5 problems on it, and you got 3 of them right, you get a 60%. We always do percent right as opposed to percent wrong. Because if you got percent wrong, you guys would get 10%. That's how many you got wrong. Percents are always how many you get right there. What about 24%? (24% equals what fraction? Kayla? What's that?
1/4.
Not quite. It equals 24 of 100 first. Now reducing that, what number goes into both of those? 25 over 100 is 1/4. You have 4 quarters in that, not 24. What number goes into 24 and 100? You might have to take it step by step. Christine! First of all, they're both even, so what can you do to all even numbers? Cut them in half. So you could divide them both by 2 just as a starting point. Half of 24 is 12, half of 100 is 50. What number goes into 12 and 50? Peter?
2.
Cut them in half again. You end up with 6 over 25. What number goes into 6 and 25, Jacob Kunzendorf?
2. Wait, no.
2 doesn't go into 25.
Nothing.
Nothing. So that's it right there. We could have divided by 4 right away, so I'd save the step, but that's just the way it works. What about 2%? 2%. What fraction is 2%? Reduced fraction is 2%. Sammy? 1/50th, he says, and that's right, because 2 over 100, you divide them both by 2, you end up with 1 over 50. Gee, kids, you've learned something new today. Congratulations. Let me be the first to congratulate you on that. All right, your assignment for tomorrow. How much